Hello, welcome, everyone. Hello. All right, I'm just checking, make sure everyone can hear me and see me. I'm gonna go to LinkedIn on my phone so I can make sure that all right, I can see the comments. All right, we got it. As you all are joining, give me a hey, hi, let me know where you are joining from. I am Latrice Huff, a career and leadership coach to ambitious women of color, and it is my mission and my movement to put more women of color in leadership roles and positions of power. Because when we lead, we change the world, you guys. When we have our own money, their studies have shown women give back, we contribute to our communities, and the entire world benefits when we uplift women, okay, and women of color. All right. So, this one is something I've been getting a lot of comments, okay? If you are new to me, new to the show, I do a weekly show on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, really for all my women out there, women of color out there who want to make six figures and beyond and want to advance in your career in a role that you love. That's the caveat. We want balance, we want career life integration, right? If this is you, give me a hey, hi, let me know you're watching. Feel free to tag this out too. Feel free to tag people who need to see it, share it out. This is free information for everybody to hear. I'm going to be dropping some gems tonight. I chose this topic because a lot of people actually have been laid off, they quit, terminated, things like that. And what happened is the gap has been longer than they anticipated. Maybe people are like, oh, a year ago, I found a new job and it took me a month or 3 months. And now you may notice it's taking people a little longer, right? And I'm saying that because more and more people are having gaps on their resumes, and it's okay. I want you to know it's okay. So I've been getting a lot of questions about how do I cover the gap? What if no one will hire me because I have a gap in my resume? I took a break. Some people took a break for family reasons, to have a child or take care of a parent, right? It wasn't always a layoff or a termination, right? Or they quit, some other reason that they had took a break in their career or from the workforce. Let me just say this. If you take nothing else from this presentation, please know that you have value after a career break. Just because you took a break from your career doesn't mean your value diminishes. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of women of color perceiving, that their value in the market has somehow diminished because they have a gap in their resume, because they took a career break, and that's simply not true. All right. So, if you're out there, I want to see like some people who are like, I have value, like I am valued, I have value. First and foremost, know that you are valuable and you have value. Okay. A career break does not diminish your value. I need somebody to put that in the comments for me. Okay. Now, I will share with you all, if you all are like loving this series, you love hearing about how to make six figures, you love it about the career break. I actually did a pop-up workshop a couple of weeks ago on how to ace the six-figure resume. I'm sorry, how to ace your six-figure interview as a woman of color. If you want that replay, put interview in the comments, because in there I do go into detail about how to answer questions during the interview about your career break. Okay. So let me put that up. Is it interview? Yes. If you want that free workshop, put interview in the comments. We will send you the link so you can get access to that. And I go into specifics like how you're going to be answering these questions about a break in your career. Okay. All right. So I wanted to get that out the way. All right, we got some comments. Yes, Trisha, I am loving this. I have that period, everything. You have value. Oh, I can't see it. I have value. It's just telling me LinkedIn user. Let me know your name. I'm going to check on my phone. Yes. All right, Dion is saying interview. Yes, we're going to get you that link, because I have seen so many women, and I talked about this, get stuck in the interview phase and get stuck on those questions about why did you leave your last job? What have you been doing in your break? And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself on my little tips here, but we start to expand versus just explain and move on, right? And so we kind of overdo it that we don't need to do. Like we don't need to go into too much detail about it, right? And that's what I see us doing is just over focusing, like hyper fixating and focusing on it. And we don't want to do that. Okay. All right, Sonia. She's like, interview. Yes. And I want to see some more like I have values. Everybody watching, I should be saying I have value, I have value, I have value. Period. That will change your energy. Just saying it out loud, typing it in the comments. Even if y'all, my hashtag replay, team replay people, I want to be saying, I have value. Keeping that in your mind, you have value. You're not a you're just as good as other candidates who don't have a break, who don't have a break in their career. Now, let me tell y'all this. It's 2024 too. Most candidates have a gap on their resume. You're okay. You're okay. It's okay. I love that. I have crazy value. I love it. I love this. I have value. Yes. Yes, Karen, I have value. Karen got value and credentials. And I love seeing the credentials behind your name. Yes. Yes, I have value. Trisha says, I have a chance to execute it at an interview last week. Yeah, Trish. Yes. Yes. Y'all, and I love like if I'm sharing this with you all, please use this. Like seriously, and thank you, Trisha, for saying that. Yes, use the tips, try them out. And here's what I'm recommending right now. Your thought process about your career break needs to change. It is not this bad thing, this monster you need to hide in the closet or under the bed and cover up. And that's a lot of the energy and the questions I'm getting is how do I cover up a break? How do I explain this? And like I'm like, girl, can you talk about your value? If you're talking about a company about the problem you solve and how you can help them generate revenue, retain clients, get better candidates, your break becomes a non-issue. But when we hyper fixate and how do I explain? And I'm gonna tell them everything I did during the break. Should I put contract? I'm gonna try to cover it up. It's too much energy too. Start with I have value. What ideas come from that? I have value. Then you start thinking about your hero stories, times you did add value to the companies. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Trisha. All right. Trisha is on it. This is one of the things that I recommend. And Trisha's putting in here. The company I went through, the company went through a restructure and I was affected, period. Yes, that is actually one of the things that I recommend to my clients. All right, we're gonna go a little bit out of order here. We flowing. We just gonna free flow today. I usually go, y'all know I got my notes here, and I usually go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in my 5 tips. Let's just make this a little more conversational. Put your questions in the comments. Let me know where you're stuck. What questions do you have? I'm going to still share my tips, but we're going to make this just more interactive. And so, what Trisha is referring to is one of the techniques that I recommend when you're getting the interview and it comes up and they may ask, why did you leave your last job? Why did you leave your last company? This is not the time for you to be like, I left my last company and then I was tripping. My boss was not a good boss. It wasn't a good fit. That ain't the time. If you were laid off, if you were terminated, even if you quit, the company went through a restructure and I was affected. Or the company went through a restructure, a corporate restructuring, and my position was part of the RIF. That's it. You don't need to go into what your boss said, what happened. Mm-mm. We're gonna have a standard line, and then we're gonna redirect. And what I mean by redirect is you're gonna go into your brand, right? The company went through a restructure, and my position was affected. Right. I am someone, and you can even talk about, I really enjoyed the work that I did in that position. I was able to add value like finding a $30,000 billing error, like really being able to train and cross functionally train. And so that really prepared me for this new job market. Like those are the type of things that you can talk about and that you can say. So essentially, the formula is you want to answer the question in a clear statement. And this is important if you're like, hey, Latrice, I'm not even getting any interviews. You may not be getting any interviews because subconsciously you're very nervous about this question. And I've had a client, she was out of work, I want to say 13 months, and that was it. She was so concerned with how she was going to answer the question that it was actually preventing her from getting interviews. Once we came out with a standard line and then how we were going to redirect, talk about her brand and her value, she started getting more interviews. She felt more comfortable and she was acing those interviews. She actually didn't have to go on a lot of interviews before she got the offer. Let me know if this is making sense. So, whether you're getting interviews or whether you're like, Latrice, I'm not getting interviews, I highly recommend you have a standard line, right? And without all the detail, right? A standard line on what you're going to say about why you left your previous company. And this answers a lot of questions. Why'd you leave your previous company? Why are you looking for a job now? It's the same answer. It's the same answer. It's the same answer. Okay. We're not going to fixate on the break. We're not going to fixate on what happened. And really, I call it you're going to explain, not expand. We're going to give a quick explanation, and then we're going to redirect and talk about your brand, your value, your accomplishments. Let me know if this is making sense. If y'all got it, give me a thumbs up. If you're like, all right, we got it, we got it, give me a thumbs up, right? Because this is very important because I have seen this prevent women from getting the interview and prevent you from getting the offer because you're over explaining it. And then now that's all they're thinking about too. So we don't have a standard line. Get to it. This goes into the next thing. You have to work on your confidence. What I've seen most is that a career break doesn't impact your career as much as it impacts your confidence. As much as it impacts your confidence. So you need to start doing daily things to boost your confidence. And that does not include listening or reading horror stories on LinkedIn. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's a whole nother thing where I talk about filtering your feed. If your feed is full of people like it's taking me 13 months, you don't know that story. And that story don't need to be your story. You don't need to adapt that. You can just mute them. What's going to boost your confidence? I always recommend writing your 25 reasons why, right? 25 reasons why you're ready for the next level. 25 reasons why you would be a valuable asset to any company, right? One of the things that I have for my clients is we have a 21-day career confidence challenge in the Fearless Branding Formula where like every day for 21 days, they're doing these little things to boost their confidence. It has been amazing. I've seen clients go from saying like their confidence was at a 2 to now it's at an 8. I've had clients go from like not getting interviews to now landing interviews and acing them to get to getting multiple offers because of their confidence. I've had clients who were not even applying to roles because their confidence was so low because they were in a break. It was like they were just in a mind loop. Like they were so concerned about this career break, what it means for their career, that it was actually making the break longer and they weren't even applying to roles. Let me know if this is making sense and how you can kind of get yourself in the loop. So I'm going to recommend that you do something to build your confidence every single day. Every single day. And then before you apply, before you do a reach out, before you sit down and work on your career, you then either affirmations, vision board, visualizing, you need to be doing something to get your energy and your confidence back up. This is very important. And a lot of people want to skip this and go right to the strategy. And what I've seen is I'll give people strategy. They won't do it because their confidence is telling them it's not going to work anyway. This ain't Latrice told me reach out, it's not going to work. That's just their confidence. Or they do it. And I've had somebody, she was like, I've been reaching out. And I was like, okay, well, let's take a look. And we went through what she was sending people, and it was a little bit condescending, and I was like, hey, what are you thinking? And she was like, I'm thinking people don't really want to help me. And I was like, it's showing in these messages. So we want to get to, hey, I'm boosting my confidence, like, hey, people are out there who want to help me, I still have value. Then you want to take the action, right? All right, so then let's talk about this value piece. This is it. Not just knowing you have value. I want you to be giving yourself proof that you have value. Give your brain proof. What this means is writing down, I recommend 5 to 6 hero stories, right? Hero stories that have nothing to do with your break, right? Start there. What have you accomplished in your career? What did you accomplish in your previous roles? And you can take it farther back, all right? And then you can still talk about what you have accomplished in the break, right? It's nothing wrong with that. We're just not going to hyperfixate on it. It's just going to be integrated into our career. Like I've seen people who've had contract roles. I was like, but that's a part of your career. Like that's still a thing. Then like I've had people tell me like, oh, I've been out of work for 2 years. And I'm like, but how have you been getting income? And they've been doing contract work. Contract work is perfectly okay. You can put that on your resume, right? Or they've been doing what I call an in the meantime job. There's nothing wrong with an in the meantime job. Like, hey, this isn't aligned with my career track, but it's bringing me in money. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So don't start discounting things. I want you to really, I recommend making a list. You can call it your value list, your accomplishment list, whatever you want, but really get all of those things out and let's start crafting hero stories. And I have a whole method about how we craft these hero stories and what they should be. But the more prepped you are, the more you build your confidence, the easier it is for you to come back from a career break. Let me know if this is making sense, right? Because some of this is like strategy, some of it is mindset, but they work hand in hand. They work together, right? We can do all the mindset work we want, but we got to have some strategy. We got to take action. And if you just take an action, they're going to be less effective. The actions you take are going to be less effective if your mindset isn't in the right place. So let me know if this is making sense that you need both. You need both things. And you need to be reminding yourself again, you have value, writing that down, because these stories are what you're going to be bringing up in the interview. These stories are what you're going to be using to help craft your resume. Because I've seen it where people are like, I don't have time to update my resume. So they're just applying and then get declined and then are like, why am I getting declined? And then it expands your break versus taking the time, working on your confidence, tracking your accomplishments, updating the resume, right? Like doing the things. And then it's like your comeback will be easier. But let me tell you this. I've helped women who took a career break for 2 years. Okay. I had someone who was out of her career for 2 years. Now she did have contract roles, but she was out of like full-time employment for 2 years and she was still able to get a 6-figure role. But the first thing we did was work on she still has value. She know we have her confidence. We were working on her confidence. I got these hero stories out of her. I really wanted her to like see her value on paper and work on articulating that value on paper and in person, right? And then my last tip, you need to know your personal brand, right? What makes you unique? All right. This is how your career break or the gap cannot be as important because you're going to be telling them what is important, which is your unique gifts, the problem you solve, and the unique way that you solve the problem, and that you can do it for them, right? I have clients that have found $1 million billing error. You think a company's going to care that you have a 6-month gap in your resume when you can help get them $1 million? No. Mm-mm. So this is think about this. Think about how you add value. What is your personal brand? Do y'all know like what is unique about you? What is the problem you solve in the unique way that you do it? That's what's going to allow you to stand out in the market. And you're going to put your personal brand everywhere, on LinkedIn, on your resume, on your business cards if you're using them, right? Like when you reach out in your DM, in your messaging, your brand should be everywhere. You're essentially telling them, I can solve your problem and I have a unique way to do it. And can't nobody else do it like me. And now you know how to answer the questions of like breaks and why'd you leave your last job? You know how to answer those things. Now you just need to know your own internal value and your brand. All right, let me know if this is making sense. If y'all like, all right, Latrice, I'm getting my brand. I know that statement. I'm coming back after a career break. Like you can come back stronger than ever. I've had clients who, after a career break, are making more money than they were when they started. I calculated this. This is good. With one of my clients, she took a career break. I think she was making around 70 at the time of her break. Maybe she was making around 70 to 75,000. She was on a break. I want to say maybe close to like 8 or 9 months. She had been laid off and then she had some things going on with her family. When she came back, I literally took her to the similar process that I take that I just explained to you all. Y'all, she started applying for roles that were 135,000. And I was like, had she stayed with that company, had she stayed in that role, she wouldn't even have been making 135,000. So what if your career break is the best thing for your career? Like, let that ponder for a little bit. Let that ponder. What if it's a good thing instead of this thing we need to be hiding? Right. And so I'm going to kind of rapid fire some questions really quickly. If y'all have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, right? Those were my tips, but I want to answer some questions that I've been getting is how do I not show the gap on my resume? I don't recommend necessarily trying to hide a gap, but you can minimize it. Like putting on their contract work. That's nothing wrong with that. You can also restructure or reorder your resume as well. You can also just put the years. We don't always have to put the months. You can just put the years on there. So that'll really minimize it. That's one of the easiest things that I recommend for my clients and that we do to their resumes is that we just put the years instead of the months. So then the gap, even if it's been like 6 or 7 months, it doesn't look like it's been 6 or 7 months, right? So just some quick and easy tips that you can take to minimize the gap. You don't need to try to hide it, but you can minimize it. Another question I get is if I just got laid off, do I need to immediately update my resume or LinkedIn? I'm going to say no. I don't think you do. If you got laid off in July or August, do I think you need to immediately have an end date right now? No, I don't. Especially if you're still on payroll to your company. Like if you were laid off, but they're like, we're going to keep you on payroll to the end of September, then you're on payroll, right? Then I would kind of keep it or that date open to the end of September. Another question, if you all don't have any, I only got the one more question left. Another question I got was, should I use like LinkedIn has a professional break where you can put professional break as a experience. And I've been getting that a lot of like, should I do that? I necessarily don't see the value in doing that. And I have had clients do very well without doing that, right? And I'll tell you why I don't see the value is because when someone looks at your profile and they go to your experience, instead of them seeing a job that correlates to your career, they're going to see something that says professional break. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it is a judgment call because I see people do it, but I haven't heard of it like working to any benefit, right? So this is what I mean by like, we don't have to me, you don't have to highlight the break and we don't have to over explain it either. Right. But we can minimize it. We can be honest and being like, hey, if you've been doing contract work, we can list the contract work. Like it's things you can do to make it look to minimize the break. All right. Let me know if you all have any questions. I'm so glad we were able to talk about this because this has been coming up a lot. Especially I feel like this year, like it was just a lot of layoffs in like January and February, more than I usually see. I usually see like a spike in hiring. But I've been really, but I saw like a lot of layoffs in January and February. And then here's the good news: came like May, June, July, and even August. I've been seeing people hired like crazy. Every time I go on LinkedIn, I'm seeing people like, I just got the job, I got hired. My clients are getting hired like crazy. My clients are landing six-figure interviews. So here's the good news: companies are hiring again. The world is opening up, companies are hiring you. This is a prime time for you to make a comeback from your career break. All right, prime time, ladies, prime time. All right. If you all have any questions, put them in. If you want to message me privately, feel free to DM me. If you want to know about services like my career services or my fearless branding formula, just DM me. Just DM me like, hey, information, or I always like DM me ready, and I'll send you more information about my programs. But this has been wonderful. All right. If it's no questions, we will hop off. Feel free to put questions in the comments though, even if you're watching the replay. All right. Have a good night, ladies. Bye.